All right, guys, thank you everybody for coming. We're super excited to have this lecture. This is our first guest lecture of the year, which is amazing. And today we're having Gabriel Payon. So if you're not familiar with him, he is the founder of the Diplomatic Institute of Israel and a chairman on the Latin American Chamber of Commerce. He works with tons of different diplomatic organizations across Israel and all the different embassies. When delegations come to Israel, he's right there with them. He has done amazing work for Israel in its relationship with other countries. And yeah, he's got really important things to say. So I hope you brought your notebooks and amazing. And I hope you guys will have some interesting questions prepared for the end. So yay, welcome, Gabriel.
Thank you, Tatiana. I think we should come on this one. Okay, so I wanted to ask you a question. We're going to be talking about the so-called Espadas. Since most of you are English speakers, how can you explain me Hasbara in English? Did you ever heard the term? Yeah. How do you explain it in English?
Representing Israel as and like explaining the actions.
Okay, so if I am in the Ministry of Hasbara, how should I be called in English? Propaganda. That's one option. Which one sounds quite bad, right? Advocacy, yeah, it's another option. Public relations, yeah, or public diplomacy. Usually here people are calling it Ministry of Explanation. If I have to explain it, it means I did something wrong, okay? And I don't want us to do many things wrong. So let's start with, I'm going to give you some of the tools that I'm using in those types of conversations. Since the beginning of the war, I've been in the air in interviews hundreds of times with different TV channels, mainly in Latin America. Just last week, I was at a canal in Colombia, one of the many channels that I'm in. And I'll just tell you a little story from one of the times I was interviewed by CNN in Rosario, Argentina. I asked the interviewer a question, and he was a bit harsh on us with his questions. And I asked him, listen, when your kids are looking to the sky, what do they see? He said, birds, stuff like that, butterflies. And I said, okay, that's exactly like any modern city. The sky is open. It's our hope, our optimism, birds, flies, sun, rain, all the blessings are coming from this above. But over here, especially in the last year, our kids know how to recognize each one of those types of airborne devices. We can distinguish if it's a drone, unmanned aerial vehicle, grenade, rocket-propelled grenade, missile, rocket, ballistic missile, long range, short range. If it's a drone, we understand if it's just filming or doing something more than that, we have a bombing, and this is not the correct way to do it. So I was saying that we're losing the war on what we're calling public diplomacy, on the explanation of the Israeli side. Why? Just look at this case. Yesterday on TV, I saw that Britain alone is responsible for something like 25% of the donations that Arab countries are receiving, that Hamas is receiving worldwide, 25%. Now, it's not just the money. It's all the mechanism around this money. There is a web of NGOs, charities, companies, money exchange banks, money laundering schemes, which they are doing a vicious circle when crime, drugs, slavery, arms are all connected. and they're exchanging those types of products one by one. We're facing a series of problems, issues when working in this type of events, mainly, sorry for that, mainly we have a much larger anti-Semitic lobby against us. We can see that they are much better organized than us. Just to give you an example, the state of Israel have something like 106 delegations worldwide, different missions, most of them are embassies. There are some other types of offices like consulate, consul general, etc. And this is what we have as our body worldwide. We're talking about something, in some of the small embassies, we have over there 3 people. We have the ambassador, the deputy, and maybe the security guy. So their capacity to change things or to influence is very limited. In front of this 106 delegation, Palestine, which is not even a state, have more than 120 delegations worldwide. So just by the numbers, they are outnumbering us. If we continue on those types of challenges, thank you. Or if we continue, our side is very fragmented. There's not one voice that's coming out of official body of Israel that can really describe what's going on. When we have here at least one guy like Boaz here, which is expert in public relations and in mitigations of crisis management, etc. And we know that when we have a crisis, we have to be very proactive. We have to start it, especially when we are planning an operation or something, we have to plan it in advance. We have to be ready with our speaking points, with our talking points at hand before things are issued. We don't have to wait until we have the problem above us and then try to solve it. This week, we had the case of 9 Palestinian kids that were killed in Gaza. We don't know the circumstances, but we have to apologize for that, okay? We are in a very awkward situation when we're dealing with, okay? We have also to remember that that's part of being a terrorist. Part of the most important part of terrorism is that when they're dropping a bomb on us from a school or hospital in Gaza, on one of our cities, they're winning. If we're retaliating, they are winning again. So in this type of war, we can never win. But on the arena of public relations, the arena of public diplomacy, we can win, and we can do it more efficiently. It will not be such small drop in the bucket. I don't want to go through all those strategies here. It's too late for that. But those are the main strategies we're taking from diplomacy and public speaking, and we're using in those types of world. Usually we're talking about dialoguing, soft skills, soft power, many types of activities to connect the dots, and I'm going to speak about it later on with a lot of more emphasis on so-called common denominators, which will understand it better than that. Anti-Semitism is one of the issues that we're facing, and we can try to mitigate it by several ways. First of all, we have what we're calling BDS, all of you heard about it, which is boycott, divestment, and sanctions. In most of the cases, we're very aware, it's very visible. The boycott, meaning that someone decides not to buy Israeli goods. It can be an individual in Canada. It can be a supermarket in Norway. It can be a governmental decision that we don't want anything from the West Bank, for example. So if we have to fight those types of activities, we have to find a way to reach to the heart of the decision makers. Little story, I was working with one of the salads company, salad factory here in Tel Aviv, in Israel, located in the Barkan industrial zone. And one of the Scandinavian chains decided not to work with them. So when we were sitting, they said that they want to punish us, the Israelis. And I said to them and explained, listen, the factory have something like 100 employees. Of that 100, there's something like 10 Israelis, and the rest of them are Palestinians from the nearby villages. If you're not buying from us, those guys are not going to have money for their families. So basically, you are hurting Palestinians that you want to protect. So it changes a bit the vision of those guys. That's the B. It's very easy. The S, the sanctions are usually coming from institutions. For example, a university in Glasgow decides not to cooperate, not to have student exchange like yours with Reichman or with any Israeli university, especially universities behind the West Bank. So this is a bit harder to change, but we can do it by explaining that this type of cooperation, this type of scientific research and development programs that can work between the countries are the essence of democracy and the essence of free speech worldwide. We can also incorporate to those talks some Palestinian kids or students to be part of it, like to help them swallow this type of cooperation easier. But the biggest problem is with the D, divestment. Divestment is very quiet. We don't notice it. Divestment means that a company like Orange, one of the largest cellular companies from France, decides one day that they don't want to work with Israel. It's a case that Veolia, another European company for environmental protection, decides to pull up all their investments from Israel. We don't know why. There's no reason for that. Usually they'll tell us something like, listen, we'd like to continue working with you, but our shareholders are saying that the return on investments from Israel is very poor. They're asking us to move to a country where the ROI is much better. So we have to fight against those things. Our strength in tech can be really an advantage. People, we have several people here in the room that are traveling worldwide with tech companies selling, marketing, and doing business development for Israel technology. And we know and understand that our solutions are well accepted worldwide. They are not always looking at the price tag and not at the made in tag. Okay, but beside of tech, it's a bit more difficult. Tech, I can include inside tech also agriculture, like ag tech, like irrigation, and so on. But everything to do with it is open. The world is much more open for that. When speaking with other people from other countries, and I'm doing it a lot, one of the worst ways to do it is that both sides are talking simultaneously, like we can see here in Israel TV. In military terms, we're calling to sit on the PTT. PTT is the push to talk button, and only one person can push the button to speak. And if you want to listen, you have to release the button. So in those types of conversation, everybody is pressing the PTT simultaneously, and we cannot hear the other side. And we're not trying to hear the other side. So in my way, I'm developing all the time what we're calling active listening. Active listening means that I'm not only listening, I'm just showing the side that I listen to his ideas. I show my empathy, my sympathy to his word, to his side of the story. I'm developing a kind of awareness to what he said, and my response to him is based on what he just told me. It's not just dropping on him the talking point that I got from home. one of the biggest challenges that a person like me, like each one of you, is facing while trying to combat those types of situation is that we have very limited quantity of ammunitions in those battles. So we have to choose our battles very carefully. What do I mean by that? We're not back to statistics, but a typical population is divided this way. We have all the population, normal distribution. We have a huge group of haters. Those are the ones that will shout free, free Palestine from river to the sea, all those stupid messages. And from the other side, we have the supporters, for example, evangelical community. So when we have those two groups, we should not waste our limited assets, our limited munitions on talking to them, because I'm not be able to change the idea of any hater. They will not love me, they will not support us, they will not even be open to listen to what we have to say. We are the bad people in this game, and that's how it stays. But in the middle, we have a huge group of persons that don't have a very fixed opinion about us. They're being fed by their TV channels. TV channels are transmitting different types of messages from different sources. And in all those cases, the messages are not very pro-Israeli, that's for sure. But we can tilt it. If we're showing some points that they may find that we are more inclined to their case, it will be easier. So I developed a kind of this series of strategies that I'm calling it the don't strategy, what we shouldn't do. And even when I'm talking on behalf of, it's not the government of Israel, but any official body, I will never victimize myself. We're not the victims here. Israel is a strong country. We're strong. We're not victims. Yes, October 7th or that, but we're not the victims. I'm not trying to patronize over my opponent, not over the other side. I will never say that they are just a group of kids with sandals and AK-47. It's not the correct way to approach it. I will not apologize for what we're doing, okay? Apologizing or being apologetic is the wrong way to show it, because I'm showing that I'm the one that is taking the blame on me. I'm not whining, I'm not saying, hey, we're sorry, but we had to do it because I'm not justifying and I'm not arguing. Because when I'm trying to argue, I'm just getting stronger in my opinion, and the other side will keep his ideas stronger. I will not be able to convince, I will not be able to persuade. So to persuade, I have to listen, and I have to find common denominators and be very respectful to their sides. The detrimental point is we have to show some compassion. It's not just speaking about numbers, how many have been killed this side and the other side, and who is better and who is worse. From that side, there are some ways that we have to choose the do strategy, which start with creation of rapport. Creation of rapport, that's your first example that I have here tonight. We spoke back there, you mentioned it from Panama, even let's start speaking with Spanish, we immediately establish kind of rapport, kind of connection, relation, more deeply than just, okay, you're another girl in the group, another student. Okay, so this is what it means. Common denominators. Again, this is one of the main points of this lecture, is to try to build bridges over what we have in common and not what we have against. By doing that, I'm doing something which is very simple. Yes, I'm an Israeli. I'm a Jew. I'm coming from the people that is killing now people in Gaza. But I have my values. My values is equal to the values of most of you here in the room. Okay, what are our joint values? For example, if we're going to sign a contract, I know that the contract that will be signed between us will be kept. We have here Amit, which is a famous lawyer, you know that. So if I have the obligation to pay you a certain day, you know that I pay you. You can sleep freely. I know that you'll comply your part of the contract. Because that's the way we in the Western world are working. We have an established legal frames that we know that has been kept in all our countries. Our family values is part of the values in all of us, regardless of the country. And then we can show it's us against them. I'm sure that now your mother will be happy. Now your mother will celebrate if any one of you will become a shaheed, will become a martyr on favor of the war here in Israel. I'm sure that your families are not based on the father's figure only, meaning the rest of the family have nothing to say. Okay, because we have common denominators, common values, and that's what we have to highlight between us. Those are the list of the shared values that all of us have in our world against the other side. Patriarchal structure, religious purity. If you are not Muslim, you're not good enough. We have the jihad. What the jihad means? It's a sacred war, meaning I have to convert you into Islam. Okay? It can be by persuasion or by a sword. You decide. Okay, there are no other options. Our friends from the other side, the fundamentalists, say that after Saturday comes Sunday, meaning that after they eliminate us, Jews that are keeping the Saturday, the Shabbat, they'll continue the rest of the world that keeps Sunday as their day off. Islamic supremacy, I don't know if you know that, but if you're talking with an Islamic people, especially the fundamentalistic one, they feel superior above you because they're not like us, they're not eating pork, they're not eating, they're not drinking wine, they're purer than us, they're better than us, according to them. Okay? And of course, collectivism, I'm sure that we learned that at high school, collectivism versus individualism, which are different values, different set of values, a different way of approaching those issues. Over here is a list of points that also separate between us. I would like for a second, so nobody will think that I'm against Muslims in general. The Muslim world is about 1.2 billion people in the world. I think there are second biggest religions worldwide. If we take out of this equation the non-Arab ones, meaning residents of countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, Afghanistan, Pakistan, even Turkey and most of Iran, we're staying with a smaller group of Arab Muslims. If we're taking again out of those, the Christian Arabs, we're staying with a smaller one, and the most of them are Sunnite Muslims. Our biggest problem is coming from the Shia and their proxy. Okay, even though Hamas is Sunni as well. The ones that spend some time in the Israeli military know that we have something that calls know your enemy. Knowing your enemy is very important. And part of it is to read, and I encourage each one of you to read the Hamas Charter. It will drop you some points of understanding about the way that they're seeing their future of this piece of land. For example, the land that we're sitting, this piece of land here, has been occupied once by Muslims, just like Spain, for example, meaning that this piece of land is and will stay ever Muslim territory. Okay, it's not the land of the Palestinians, it's a Muslim territory. Meaning that there's no way that some way, somehow, by any kind of agreement, we can have peace accord between us. One of the points of the charter is saying that they cannot even find any way to reach any type of agreement about this article, meaning the entire land is Muslim, it's going to stay Muslim forever, and no Muslim have the right to resign his rights over this land. And of course, we are the one to blame on all the world conspiracy. We can see it all the time. Next to 9/11, George Bush, son, George W. Bush, spoke about the axis of evil. And those axis of evil are still, until today, very strong in power. We know them and we feel them. It's, again, I spoke about the exchange of goods and money and services between countries, and it's part of it. We can see how governmental funded crime is managed between those countries and also filtering to their proxies. Okay? We may think that the new regime in Syria is much better. No. El-Julani is Al-Qaeda, is ISIS, is the same old terrorists that want to eliminate us today, tomorrow, the day after. But it will come. We can never have a kind of peace accord with those guys. This is just talking a bit about how crime and terror are connected. I'm sure that you know that they're nourishing one each other, meaning that if I have pile of arms in one country and I want to exchange it for something, maybe I can get an amount of money from the other side. Maybe I can exchange it for drugs. We know that Syria, until the elimination of the Assad regime, one of its major income sources was Captagon, synthetic drugs. Before that, that was hash, marijuana, and opium. And they are moving it all the time. So those types of countries are disguised themselves as legally doing legal stuff, but it's not. It's very, very far away from being legal. Let's put things in a kind of perspective. The size of Israel in comparison to the United States. Less than New Jersey, which is one of the smallest states. Okay? And on this piece of land, there are currently, today, after what, 20 months of war, 600 days, we have around 200,000 missiles covering any square inch of this land in any given moment. So ask your mayors, ask your governors, ask your presidents, your prime ministers, what will they do if they know that each person and each square inch of their territory is covered by missiles of other countries? But going back to the story that we started with CNN in Rosario, in this case, I asked the guy, Paraguay is not far away. Imagine yourself that this city, Santa Fe, is going to be covered by missiles coming from Paraguay. What will you do as Argentinians? All the guys that asked me, we're going to fight first. We're going to do the first attack and remove this type of action against them. And I really didn't, I tried not to get into very, let's say, explicit points here about the rapes and violation, and all that. But it's part of it. It's part of the culture, if we can call that a culture. This is part of the things that I'm doing. I'm going to share with you some of the games that I'm playing with different types of people that I'm working with on those types of activities. So I'm challenging to say, how many terror organizations do you know that are either European or American, Jews or Israeli? Usually they cannot mention. There are. We can speak from Bader Meinhof to Sendai Luminoso to many others, the Tamils in the Tamil tigers in Sri Lanka and many more. But they're small in quantity or in comparison to the Arab Muslims. And now let's see who orchestrated terror attacks. Can you see any one of those attacks that have not been orchestrated by Muslim? And when you're saying it, when you're showing the statistics, it makes its effect. When you're continuing you're saying that you see how European cities are flooded by Muslims. You see how those Muslims are taking possession of properties in those countries, how they're milking all the good of the European countries. And they're still unhappy with what's going on. Yes.
I have a question about San Bernardino. It was a lone wolf attack. The inspiration was Islamic, but it wasn't orchestrated by it. But that's a unique issue with U.S. domestic terrorism as well. Only it couldn't happen in another
country. Okay, I don't know why, but always you can find, almost always you can find a link to something related to Muslims. Even in other terror attacks that are not so Muslim, you can find it. Why? It's not for me to do it. Please let me share with you, and that's piece of slide is going to be the end of my presentation today. I would like to share with you a little game of gamification that we created together with one of my classes, one group of students I'm working with. We were trying to find ways to explain the October 7th attack, what happened there, and change the paradigm from killing people to saving lives. It looks like that. We're starting by regional map, showing the area, showing where the Gaza Strip and the attacks, zooming in to see all the villages, cities, towns, kibbutzim, moshavim that have been attacked, and the quantity of casualties in each one. Okay, so that gives like the perspective of business. And then we're doing a zoom in on one of the kibbutzim. Nero is close to my heart because there are many Argentinian people in this kibbutz. And personally, I was involved in part of the lobbying for one of the families, the Engelbert family. From there, the mother and two girls have been kidnapped and released. The father has been killed, and his body has been still, I think it's still in Gaza. So the game is that what happened over there, 25% of the citizens have been eliminated or injured in one way or another. And then we're going and doing a zoom in on one of the families with 2 dead, 2 kidnapped, 1 missing, and 3 injured. Now that's where the game begins. We're starting here by a triage. Triage, for the ones that are not familiar with, is the process where when you come to an ER emergency room, you're getting greeted by a doctor or paramedic that assess your situation. And according to the severity of the situation, they're deciding how to treat you and in what way. Okay? So the triage guy decided is seeing someone broke his leg, light injury, gunshot, one hand in mid-level, and multiple bleeding points in the third one, and one person is critical. Now I have to take a decision to who should be saved first, second, and third. This is the treatment, ending by airlifting him to the hospital. By the way, my office is just near the heliport of Bennington Hospital, and during the war, every day we saw many helicopters going down with more and more casualties, and it breaks our hearts. And the results of the game, unlike all the computer games that you know, that I'm gaining more points by killing people, over here I'm gaining points by saving lives. And the question is, how many lives did you save today? If I can just end my speech here with one message, A, B, C, D, is at least build common denominators. Okay? Building common denominator is building bridges, creating rapport, understanding, and getting understood by the other people that are listening to you, going to listen to you. And it's basically, I think, more than 80% of the money. Okay, thank you very much. I'm now open for your questions.